minds. We're going to do new. Do something else. Do more. Do the impossible. Do better. Do good. Do big. Do small. Do it wrong. Do it again. Do it ourselves. Do it together. Do what no one else has done. Do what will become big. Do the same. Do different. Do everything. Do something. Do new.
Hello and welcome to today's webinar from Linköping University. Today we're going to talk about our master's program in Experimental and Medical Biosciences. I'm Karina Sjöberg, working at International Student Recruitment at Linköping University. I'm here with a colleague today. First of all, some practicalities. There are two parts in this webinar. The first part focusing on the relevancy, the background of the program and its contents will be recorded. It will be put up on YouTube and on our own website. The second part is a live Q&A section. So after about 20-25 minutes, you're very welcome to enter your questions into the questions box and we will answer them here. So once again, very welcome. Today I have the program director with me. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Absolutely, Karina. Jordi Altimiras is my name. I'm a professor of physiology at the university. And for the last couple of years, I have been the course director or the program director of this program. I've been involved in this program for many years. And 2 years ago, I stepped up as the program director.
So what is the background to the program in Experimental and Medical Biosciences?
The background in the program is basically in the area of biomedicine. The area of biomedicine that, as you can imagine, it has always been important, but with the corona pandemic, it was even enhanced. So this master is aimed at all those students that have an interest in actually working on what is usually called preclinical medicine. That means basic research that can lead to advances in medicine in the study of diseases, but usually we don't step into clinical medicine. That means works with patients, but we working with animal models, working with different cell types, or working even nowadays with bioinformatic databases and the like. So this is the background to this program, biomedicine, preclinical sciences, I would say.
Mm. And what would you say sets it apart from other similar programs? What makes us special?
You mean other programs in biomedicine?
Yes.
That's a very good question, and I'm not sure I know 100%, but I can tell you what is specific and what is special about this program that I don't see in other programs when I talk to colleagues from other universities. I would say three things, essentially. Number one, we, from day one, see to it that every single student joining the program has a mentor, an academic mentor. This is a scientist that is practicing. It's actually a scientist doing his own work that then basically takes under her wings a few students as mentor, as mentees, and then basically provides advice and helps you through the 2 years with your questions or different choices. Number two is the strong emphasis on experimental work. So, and that is seen at two levels. One, in the courses. In all the courses, you will be involved in actually conducting different types of laboratories, having experience in the lab. And that is seen later on. And that I would make point number three is the fact that 60 credits of the 120 credits of the program can be placed on your experimental projects. That means that you have almost a full year of experience working in different research labs. And these research labs can be in our own university, but it can also be in other universities within Sweden, Europe, or the world even.
Okay, maybe we should have a look at the curriculum and talk a bit more about it, actually.
Absolutely.
Yes, so how can you describe the first term?
The first term that you see here in two different colors, one, I guess that would be turquoise, and the other a bit more orangey-like, salmon color. That means that during the first semester, the first half is actually dedicated to obligatory placement courses or obligatory leveling courses. As you see there, if you can read laboratory techniques in experimental biosciences, analytical techniques in experimental biosciences. These are two courses that run in parallel. That means that they take place at the same time, simultaneously. And these are courses that we expect, well, in order to level, get all the students at the same level. We have students that come from many different parts of the world, some that have done a lot of experimental work, some that have done much less experimental work, and it's important that actually get them to a level in which everyone can thrive and succeed later on. So these are the first two obligatory courses in the first part of the semester. The salmon side, that would be the second part of the semester, more towards November and December. That is the first choice you have to actually, you can choose between 4 different courses. Each courses, all the courses in this program are 7.5 credits. That means that you are expected to choose 2 out of these 4 courses.
And I also see that is a possible positional project work. Could you develop that a bit more?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, since in the program consists of between 45 and 60 credits, that's almost a full year of project. It's desirable that the students actually start their research project already, or the first project during the first year. And it's actually possible to do it immediately after the obligatory courses.
Okay. If I choose to do the shorter version or the longer one when it comes to this experimental part, does that have any implications on my future career?
No.
No.
I don't think so. I can say out of experience that very few students choose the 15-credit course, because in general, students appreciate the opportunity to do experimental work and like to take advantage of that. But it's a possibility that actually is meaningful in certain cases. But most of the students actually will do the 60 credits, 30 and 30 later on.
Okay. And these projects, where can I find them? Where do I look for them?
Very good question. Very good question. Everywhere and nowhere. That's why basically we have a functional website, and most of the research labs will actually have information on their websites. At the same time, you will have teachers that will be teaching you in the different courses that are researchers themselves. Most of them will have their own research lab. So the idea is that you initiate a contact. You go through the website, you see which areas are you interested in. Is it neurobiology? Is it the cardiovascular sciences? Or whatever it can be, find the laboratories that can be interesting for you, and then contact the researchers. Researchers are used to actually be contacted by students. Most of them are actually teaching in the program. They will understand where is it that you are coming from. But that means already that it's your interest that drives that. So you as the student have to initiate that. You are not going to get a list of projects that you can choose from. That's not how it works. It works that you decide what is it that I'm interested in, and then you start looking. And because you will have a familiarity with the teachers, many of them will have taught you or will be teaching you later on. Well, that's how you start this contact.
So you have to be proactive yourself and
Absolutely.
start the process.
This is a master program, so proactivity is what we are after.
Okay, so I moved to Linköping, let's say, to study this program. And if I'm thinking long term, if I would like to stay on here, are there any companies, organizations where I could continue?
Of course there are. I mean, basically, you can divide these perhaps in 3 different big groups, right? The first one would be following up academic career, just starting a PhD. Many of our students will do that. And that can happen not only in the medical faculty or the Faculty of Medical Sciences, but also at the Science and Engineering faculty, because there is a lot of research groups that are working with biomaterials, development of new materials, prostheses, etc. So there's possibilities for a PhD career on all these different labs. The second group would be the clinical side, and that would be more towards well, what is called the healthcare region, Region Östergötland, that also will need people actually working in their labs to conduct different types of analysis, etc. And the third leg, of course, is the industry. There are companies, many of them are actually spin-offs from the same university, smaller companies. There are some a bit larger companies. I can name a few. BioReparia is one small company, which is a spin-off. Actually, the people leading are teachers, not only in the program, but at the medical faculty. Dynamic Code is a well-known company that specializes in, or it started specializing with parental genetic tests, and later on initiated a lot of COVID testing, etc., and other kinds of things. So there are quite a few companies. And of course, these are at the regional level, but then if you go at the national level, there are many more companies that will be placed in different locations in different regions in Sweden.
Yes, of course. Yeah, so when it comes to those elective courses, do I have to think strategically in some particular way?
You can. You can. There is quite a bit of freedom there, that you can actually decide, do you want to do a course before, or you start involving with the project later, or which courses do you think are more suitable for you? And there is where your mentor will be extremely useful, because the mentor is a person that you may bounce your ideas, your thoughts. Okay, this is what I would like to do. I would be interested in developing this. I would be interested in getting a Nobel Prize in medicine a few years from now, because I have worked in immunology. Well, I think that your mentor will be the person that will easily help you sort out, okay, what would be a reasonable career path. In general, though, don't stress too much about it. I think that sometimes we place too much emphasis on what's the right way. And what we see from people that have succeeded is that there is no right way. There is, well, or there are 1,000 right ways. So the most important thing is that work hard, follow your passion, follow your ambition, and then you do your best.
Work hard brings me to the next key issue, actually. How does a typical week look like as a teacher? So you have met them.
Yep. Well, I mean, let's start with the practicalities. Being a full-time student at the University of Linköping means working 40 hours a week. You are not going to have 40 hours scheduled of activities.
No.
That means that you are expected to fulfill all the hours that you have, lectures, seminars, etc. There will be some obligatory activities, some that are less, but then you will have extra time. That's the extra time that you should put on studying. I think that if you actually work 40 hours a week, and that means 8 hours a day, every single day of the week, the working days, you will do well. No one prevents you from putting more time, but I think that that's the expectation. That's what, and then as how a typical week will look like, it will depend, but usually you will have several courses. You can have one course and you will be doing your project at the same time. So it's pretty much, it's very versatile. You will have the freedom to choose and to decide a little bit based on that. But what could a typical week look like? Well, lectures a week, one seminar or one laboratory, or perhaps both, depending on which course at which level of the course. So probably you will have scheduled time anywhere between 8 and 16 hours, so 1-2 full days. So there's going to be plenty of room for other things. That will mean studying, doing studying work in groups, preparing for assignments, working on the assignments that you have to hand in, studying for the final exam of every single one of the courses. So that's how it should basically look like.
Mm-hmm. Are there any major changes from year 1 to year 2?
Yeah, well, the main changes, of course, is that in year 1, you have the obligatory courses.
Yeah.
So that is something you have to do. In year 2, you have total freedom, because then is when you, usually in year 2, some students will be finishing one project and starting the next, or already choose some courses in between. So year 2 has a much higher level of flexibility than year 1 does. Mm-hmm.
So I noticed the degree projects here. Could you develop a bit further? It says possible start. Should it take 1 semester, 2 semesters, or who decides?
Again, you as the student decide. This is a flexible program. What we want is that you have not total freedom, but quite a bit of freedom in choosing courses that you think are relevant, and at the same time, perhaps doing your project. What does doing a research project mean? It will depend on the project. In some cases, it will mean a lot of hard working time for a short period of time. In some other cases, it may mean a few hours a week for many weeks. And that will depend on the project as you decide with your supervisor. So in general, it's a matter of agreeing with your supervisor. What is my time dedication to the project looking like? What am I expected to do? How much should I work in the beginning versus the end? And then maybe they say, okay, could I in a course in between? Because now I have this period of hard, intense experimental work. And after that, in some cases, you may have to send your sample somewhere for processing or for sequencing, or you name it. And that will depend, that will be specific for every individual project. So we are very flexible in allowing you to do that, as long as you agree, as long as you talk with your supervisor or the teachers of the courses. The important thing is that we give you the space to actually be you, decide your path, and then with a certain freedom. Of course, it's no total freedom. There are some things that you have to do as a student, but it's you that mostly decide. That you are expected to be self-sufficient, quite independent, quite autonomous in that sense. But that's why we provide a mentor on the side. Because the mentor is always there to help you out. If things don't work as expected, okay, what can be done? That's the idea.
So the same mentor will follow you the whole time during these 2 years?
We work very hard to make it the case. Sometimes for different reasons, a mentor may have to quit halfway, but we work very hard to keep our mentors committed to finishing groups of students. So essentially, we think that it's quite okay that a mentor after 2 or 4 years decides to do other things because whatever the reason. But we really expect the mentors to follow up the cohort of students for 2 years or 2 more years. And we try that very hard. And that's one of the reasons when we choose mentors that we almost expect that as a commitment. So after that, life can actually make things happen. Exactly.
So the thesis, the degree project, how early should they start looking for such a project? Or is everything there in the database searchable by 2-3 weeks notice? Or do I have to do the search several months in advance?
It varies a lot.
Okay.
It varies a lot because sometimes researchers have got new money and they need to start quick. Then it may be a short time notice. Other times they need much more planning, and then perhaps it's good that you actually have an idea of 2 or 3 months in advance. So that will be variable. But I mean, what we usually say is that once you finish your obligatory courses, and that means usually around October the first year, start thinking about your project. Start talking to people. Trying to find. And maybe you're not going to start your project until January, but you already start talking to people. Of course, researchers need to plan ahead of time, need to see to it. In many cases, you are going to be working hand in hand with perhaps a PhD student or a postdoc. So they have their own experiments running. So it's good that basically you join the project at the right time to actually make it more efficient. But it's hard to give one must here. We tend to say that start looking. don't wait until the second year. That's way too late. Start looking and then try to see how are you going to fit it. So basically, in October, in the beginning of October during the first year, you have to make a plan for which courses you are going to take. So it's expected that after 2 months, you have a little bit of an idea, what are you going to do in your master's program. It's not that you have to follow that. You can make changes, of course, but that's a way to put a little bit of pressure, and you say, well, what do you want to do? How do you want to plan it? Oh, I would like to do my projects the second year. Oh, we don't recommend that. I would like to do my project at the spring semester. Okay, that's perhaps good. So these ideas that we start talking ahead of time and planning for it.
Yeah. So thinking about the students who come to do this master, there are some specific requirements for them. Yeah. They have to have a very good English. Could you develop that further?
Yeah. English is the universal language in which science communicates. There's no other way around to put it. So we expect mastering English both orally and in written. Not having that, not fulfilling that requirement, certainly will put a lot of stress on you during the studies. In general, I can say that it happens. I cannot lie about that. It does happen. But in general, students succeed. Students do well. It takes a few months for some to get used to that level of English communication. But I would say that 70% no issues from the beginning. And then there is about 30% that probably struggle a little bit in the beginning. Very few of them after one semester still have issues.
Oh, that's great to hear. Yeah, because I know certain of you will take an international test, such as IELTS, where you have to have 6.5 on average, or TOEFL, where you have to have 90. Others documented in another way. So yeah, that's what I've heard also, that the oral part, even if you pass a test, think that you still have to be able to carry out the oral part. It's all about writing and analysis.
Yeah. I mean, in Swedish education is a lot based on group work and communication. Many of the students many of you may be used to courses that are based on lectures, perhaps some laboratory, and that's it. We try to combine this a lot more. We expect the students to work in groups, to be able to collaborate with each other, to produce some written report or some laboratory report together. And that requires communicating with each other, understanding each other, putting it in written. So there is we see some students that are a little bit shocked sometimes about that, but they quickly adapt. But that's something that it may be a little bit different from the system that you have studied in before.
Yeah, I've met some of your earlier students, and I've been astonished about their time management skills sometimes. And I think it's really a step up for most students, leaving the bachelor level and adjusting to the master level, so that be aware, start from the beginning, be proactive. I think that's
a very good way of putting it. And of course, because you have such a freedom in this program, that requires a lot from you, because it's you that have to do the planning.
Yeah. Student life, we should say a few words. When it comes to student life, we do have a certain number of international LIU ambassadors, which are blogging. Unfortunately, we have Alexandra, who is taking the master's program at present. And she is blogging, so you can find her on our international student blogs. And you can also read a lot more on our Instagram account linked to student life. There we have a new student every week describing their life as a student at Linköping University. So I think we are approaching the end of this part being recorded. Thank you, Jordi, for all this information. It's been really valuable.
My pleasure.
Yeah. So here is where we stop the recording. And thank you for watching. And it will be put on our website as well on YouTube afterwards. Thank you and goodbye.
Goodbye.
And now, for those of you who are live with us, we will continue with the Q&A section. I sincerely hope you have a lot of questions for us in the questions box.
Bring them on.
Yes.
Okay, great. And that's where I will come in. So we indeed already have various questions from the audience. So I'm going to read them out as they might interest others as well. Just to quickly mention, if people watching the recording from us, in our recording, you can still also write questions. So that way we can still get them, of course, not answer them live now. But for the live audience, we're going to dive into it right away. Dylan is asking, I'm so interested in, especially in immunology. Will that be part of the program?
That's your question, without doubt.
Yes, there is actually a course that is called Advanced Immunology, which is basically the program is designed around big areas in biomedicine. So we try to cover most of them, and immunology is one of them. So there is a course in Advanced Immunology. It takes place the second part of the fall semester. And then, of course, associated with that, you could easily do your projects in immunology. That would mean that at least directly in that respect. There are courses that are probably also very interesting for someone with an immunology background. There is a course in molecular virology, for example, and there is a course in infectious diseases. So if we put this together, 3 courses, 7.5, that's more than 21 credits plus 60. That would make 80 out of 120 credits of the program in areas related with immunology, which is probably more than 2/3. I think that that's a good coverage.
Great. Thank you. We already received thumbs up. So I guess that is answering the question. And well, we get it again. So great. Hope that is clear to Dylan and others. Next question we received is from Nina. Nina's asking, can you tell me more about the projects and the workload?
Well,
no, I cannot, because it depends on which project you are going to choose. And then basically, again, the workload, I can say that the expectation is that you work 80 hours a week. So if you are working full-time on a project, it's fair that your supervisor expects you to put 8 hours of work in the lab doing different things. What does working in the lab mean? That can mean lots of things. When you're working on a research project, it's not only about being in the lab pipetting things or culturing cells. It's scientific papers. It's also about discussing with your peers or with the supervisors on what's the next step, or reporting or analyzing the results and reporting them. So it's a very varied, but I mean, the expectation then would be around 40 hours a week. I don't think anyone will complain if you put more hours. And then, well, it's really up to you. It's your level of ambition that really defines how much work you do in that respect.
Mm. Input and output, there's often a link between them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is. But it's not only a matter of time. It's also a matter of reflection, thinking, dedication, and then establishing the right connections, finding the right people to talk to, finding the right people to communicate with. It's important as well.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And I see 4 more people upvoted that question, so it was a popular question. So hopefully that answered it. Next question from Inibe. He is interested in public health or clinical nutrition. Will this be part of and taken care of as well?
No. I try to be very brutally honest. I mean, if that's what you're interested in, this program is not for you, because we don't cover anything about public health, and we marginally will touch upon nutrition, even yet less on clinical nutrition. What you are pointing out seem to be areas that are very, very medically oriented, and this program is more preclinical at that level.
One of the reasons why we have these webinars, that is to manage expectations. So we set the expectations right. We don't want to admit anybody who then will be totally disappointed. So that's why I appreciate your very clear answer.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's very important. I mean, most of you, if you come to Linköping, will be coming from all over the world. You will make a big effort in coming here. So you need to be prepared. You need to know, and we need to be able to deliver. If we are not able to deliver, it's better for me and anyone else at the university to tell you right away. If this is what you're interested in, I don't think that we can help you with that.
Okay, clear. Thank you very much. Victoria is asking, can international students apply for the program? Well, I guess this webinar is for international students, but maybe you want to clarify a little bit more?
Yes, you can apply. It's open right now. You apply from today till January 16th. That's the deadline for admission in August 2023. And you have till 1st of February to upload your supporting documents. So start thinking right now if you're thinking about applying. And of course, afterwards, if you have any questions after this webinar, you're of course welcome to contact us via mail from the program homepage, and we will get back to you as soon as possible.
Thank you very much. And I posted the link of the program overview, and also there's a direct apply button there in the chat. So there you can find the link to apply if you're already interested, and you can follow the instructions after the webinar. All right, next question we received, let's see, is from Pierre. Pierre's asking about the qualification in English. How do I prove my citizenship on the portal?
You prove it by your national ID or your passport. That is how you prove that you are an EU citizen or a non-EU citizen. And you upload it on your account together with all your other supporting documents.
Okay, thank you. A related question from Inibea is about the English letter. So he's from Nigeria and indicates that he's lectured in English. Is that acceptable to apply?
Well, he should check out his transcript of records. If it's indicated that his bachelor program was entirely taught in English on the transcript itself, then he may be able to use it. But if I'm from Nigeria, there are simpler ways. So I would actually recommend him to go to universityadmissions.se and enter Nigeria into the search square. And there will be simpler solutions in order how to fulfill the English requirements. So note, even though you are native, you still have to document your English level. Okay?
I would say that it's important for you out there that you understand that when you go and apply for the program, you read the instructions and you follow them carefully. Because if you don't and you miss something, then you will be placed in the queue down on the bottom of the queue. So your chances to actually take the program will decrease. So read the instructions carefully, apply on time, and just make sure that everything that is needed, you actually submit. Unfortunately, I see students that make small mistakes, and then it doesn't pay off, because then you get back to us and say, oh, this happened. And there's relatively little we can do once the application has gone in. So read the instructions carefully. And as Karina says, check it. Every country may have different requirements, so check that out.
Yeah, it's a really good advice. Check the country-specific instructions. That is often very, very valuable.
Okay, very good. I have pasted the link to University Admissions and directly for this program also in the chat. So there you can find the information that Karina just indicated. All right, so let's go ahead with the next question. Ariane is asking, and I think actually a couple of more people, about scholarship or financial aid. Can you say something about that?
Yes, should I start maybe and you finish up? Yeah. When it comes to scholarship, those are in general terms very, very limited. So most of you expect to be self-funded. And last year, the Agency of Migration expected you to have around $920 or 920 euros per month as a student for the cost of living in Sweden. And unfortunately, we are in a high inflation time nowadays. So this figure might change till January, February. So that is what you should calculate. But back to the question of scholarship and tuition fees.
Yeah, I mean, we have, for this program, we have less than one scholarship per year. And as a result of that we have less than one scholarship per year, we have chosen to give this scholarship to the student in year 2 that actually has performed the best. We think that this is the most fair way to actually share the little scholarship funding that we have. That means that from the program, or from the for this program, from the university perspective, there is not going to be a stipendium or a scholarship for year 1 students. There are other avenues for scholarships, but from the program itself, because we have so limited, we have decided to invest that in year 2, in a year 2 student that has performed outstanding. That's the choice we've made.
And I know from earlier years there has sometimes been a scholarship from the Swedish Institute.
Yeah.
So that might be an option to look for that as well.
Absolutely. I can say that we have between 1 to 3 students per year with a scholarship from the Swedish Institute.
So that's the best opportunity then.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope that answered the question for those people. Question from Simona: is some biology eligible for the program?
Could you repeat the question, because it got cut halfway?
Okay, so Simona was asking, is someone who studied molecular biology eligible for the program?
Absolutely. Simple answer. Notice that the requirements for the program are a bachelor in an area related to biomedicine, and then within this bachelor, 90 credits should be in areas related to medical biology. I have a hard time seeing a molecular biology program that will not have 90 credits in areas related with medical biology. It's not impossible, and this is basically the Antagning that takes the decision, but a bachelor program in molecular biology is highly likely to fulfill the criteria. I cannot speak on this particular case, but I mean, it's highly likely.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Marcel is asking, does an EU student have to pay a student fee for the program? Because here in Switzerland, students had to pay a fee every semester.
No, you don't. EU students and also those from EES, that's Switzerland and Norway, can come to Sweden and study for free. That's part of the European Union agreement. However, you should be able to support yourself financially if you move here. So calculate around the same money, 920 euros per month, if you wish to study here.
Okay. Thank you. I hope that answered that for Marcel and other EU students as well. Jasmine is an EU student, but from Austria. She's asking, can I do the double degree program by doing the 3rd semester in Sweden and still then go back to Austria?
Okay, I think that you should send us that via email, because we have to check that link to what partners we have in that country.
Well, I mean, maybe I can, without giving an answer, I can already tell everyone that can be a relevant information, is that we have a couple of double degree exchanges, meaning that if you do part of the program in Sweden and part of the program in our partner university, and we have 2 partner universities in Austria that are involved in this double degree program, then you get 2 master degrees. One from the University of Linköping and one from the specific university in Austria. Maybe this student is already in one of these 2 Austrian universities. But then I say what Karina says, send us the email and we will answer particularly, because that is a very technical, specific question.
Okay, great. Thank you. Next question we received is from Eugenia. Is it possible to suggest a thesis with a neurobiology direction?
So Eugenia wants me to actually suggest a thesis in the area of neurobiology?
I don't know exactly. Let me see if we have more information. Otherwise, let us know.
I can actually.
Maybe we have
Can
to
you
get
say
back
in a
into that
general
otherwise.
sense, maybe?
Yeah, well, of course, what I can say is that there are some areas in biomedicine in which we have stronger research profiles than in others. And I can say easily that neurobiology is probably one of the areas in which we have the strongest research profile. So there are many research groups that are in the area of neurobiology. And I can say there are lots of exciting research groups that are producing lots of good research in that respect. I could name a few, but then I would be discriminate others. I'd rather not do that. But if you go into the strategic research area neurobiology at the University of Linköping, you will see which groups are associated and connected with that strategic research area.
Good idea.
We just received additional information. Eugenia mentions it's because I want to broaden my knowledge in biochemistry and pursue a PhD after the master.
Fair enough. Biochemistry is an area that we don't cover much in this program. There are probably other master programs at the university that have a more biochemistry-oriented profile. But since you mentioned neurobiology, I thought, yeah, that's highly appropriate. Biochemistry, we have a strong chemistry department that works on other areas, also have connections with neurobiology. Science nowadays is very multidisciplinary. But I mean, biochemistry, perhaps this program is not the strongest one in that respect, but you can find other programs at the university that could be in that direction. If you want, you can drop me an email and can give you some more particular advice on that.
Great. Thank you very much. And yes, so we are actually also having other webinars taking place this month. So you might want to check out some of that as well. We have, I know, in some similar field, biomedical engineering. So that's the more engineering background that's coming up next week. To mention one, but yeah, do check out the website for more information. So that's the studyabroadportal.com. There you can find also other webinars that are given by Linköping University.
Do you know if
Okay,
I'm thinking about?
Yeah,
look, I'm thinking about the program in protein chemistry, protein science. That's, I don't know if they will have a webinar, but that's also a master program. And that's much more focused on biochemistry, actually. Biochemistry with strong links to neurobiology in that regard.
That's good to know. Okay, thank you. Let's see if we get more questions. I saw, yes, there's a question. Julian, are there enough options for accommodation and student halls at the residences in Linköping?
Oh, accommodation. I think that's a tricky question every university town in Sweden every year, actually. However, my best advice to you, that is to register with the 2 housing agencies as soon as possible, maybe even today, even before you have actually applied, if so. You have Studentbostäder and you have heimstaden.com, studentbostäder.com or .se. You register with them, it's free of charge, and you get 1 queuing point per day. And in mid-July, when they open the offer for those wanting to arrive 1st of August, the more queuing points you have, the better option you have when it comes to accommodation. And of course, you always have Facebook, Blocket, whatever, but just be sure, don't pay any money up front before having seen the room or the apartment. Yeah, so that is my best advice. Start early when looking for accommodation.
Although, as Karina says, it's always an issue. It's always a hot potato. But I can say that in the last couple of years, we see no problems with accommodation any longer. Students find accommodation now. It's been an issue before, but nowadays, I think that between the fact that it's been new construction, there are new apartments available for students, I think that it's much less of an issue. But as Karina says, don't wait. You can put yourself on that line and start collecting points. If you decide not to come to Linköping at the end, you have not lost anything. If you decide to come, you have invested already today in getting points for this skill.
Okay, great. Thank you. Good advice. Hope that helps all of you. And I can also mention we do have a student community. I'm putting the link now in the chat. Another nice resource from all the people in this webinar. So you can actually join in there and chat and network, for example, even find housing together via the student community. So there we will also put the recording, so in case you missed it, and yeah, you can find more useful information as well. So a lot of resources at your fingertips, as you can see. Hopefully we're able to provide you all the answers to your questions. And let me check if we did receive, sorry, and more. Yes, I think we had another question in the chat, if I saw that right. Yes, about financing. Julian was asking, is it possible to take a student loan from Swedish banks, not being Swedish?
I have not heard of that as a possibility. So I would recommend that you find a suitable financial situation before coming here. Whether you're European or non-European, you still have to be able to finance yourself. And Swedish banks are not used to finance students.
No, because in Sweden there is a central agency that does that. So.
Okay. Thank you. Hope that took care of that question. And let's see if we received another question at this point. No. So I think slowly we have probably answered most of the questions, hopefully. If people still have a question live, we can take one now still. Otherwise, yeah, you can still watch the recording. It will actually replay right after this webinar. So I know some people join in later, so you can just stay on and watch it again. And we just got a question from Ulubokola, if I said that right. I'm coming with my family, and any advice on websites to register before relocating to accumulate points?
Well, you register with Hemstaden and with Studentbostäder. And especially if you're bringing family members, of course, you should also be aware that you have to have a higher, more stable financial situation, because the Agency of Migration, they will require that you add money for any spares or any children that you wish to bring with you, so that the entire family is financially secure.
Okay, thank you. We're getting the thumbs up, so I guess that's answering this question as well. Thank you very much. And we're getting to the end of the session. I have one more poll question. So all of you have already answered, well, most of you have answered the poll question. So thank you for that. As that makes us, gets us to know you a little bit better. I have a last question just to see how you feel the session went. Right, popping up on the screen. There you go. Let us know if you were satisfied and if you have any remarks. Of course, you can tell us in the chat. And yeah, do let us know your feedback before you drop off. And with that, again, I would like to then slowly conclude the session. Do check out the student community with the link in the chat. And maybe a last word over to you, Karina.
Yes, well, thank you very much for Jordi for clarifying all of these questions. And I certainly hope to see all of you here in Linköping. And feel free to contact us any way you wish. Instagram, Facebook, by replying to an earlier email. You're always welcome, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. Hope to see you here in August, and bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much for listening to us.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Luke.